Hello, fellow clear mind enjoyer. First, I want to thank you all for the positive feedback regarding my TG video. The guide received more likes than usual in the amount of time, for which I'm really thankful. Just like in the anime where Antinomy cleared the path for Yusei, TGs cleared the path for Synchrons to reach Master 1. The list is basically the same as in my guide video, and I even had a 10 games win streak with the list. If you want to see the combos, the video link will be in the description. Since the list remains largely unchanged, I won't be doing a deck profile. Everything is described in my guide. The only modifications are the ratios for Diabellstar and Soulpiercer, as I found a combo for them, which I'll show in the combo section. The rest will be intense gameplay with commentary. Without further ado, let's dive into the combo section. Bike would usually search for Wakaushi, but for the sake of this combo, let's grab a Soulpiercer. The combo is slightly different if you start with Wanted, but it's just a different order of operations. I'm sure you'll figure it out, or if you need some help with it, ask me in the comment section. First, we'll normal summon Soulpiercer and then send it to the grave with Diabell to trigger Soulpiercer's effect and activate Diabell's effect. Soulpiercer will search for Wakaushi, and Diabell will set an original Sinful Spoil to the field. Then, we'll proceed with the regular stuff with Wakaushi, scaling him, and using him to scale Benkei from the deck. Benkei searches for another copy of Soulpiercer. Now, we'll activate Soulpiercer's effect in hand to equip it to Wakaushi, and then send it to the grave with original Sinful Spoils. This will trigger Soulpiercer's effect again, and original Sinful Spoils will summon Jet Synchron. This time, Soulpiercer searches for scales, and Diabell and Jet Synchron will go into Diabellantis. Diabellantis will send Praying Mantis to the graveyard, and then we'll activate Praying Mantis's graveyard effect to summon a token. The token and Wakaushi can summon Excel Synchron, who will send Revolution Synchron to the grave to become level 2. Wakaushi will scale himself back and we can pendulum summon scales. Then, we'll go into Barone with Excel Synchron and Diabellantis, and immediately trigger Revolution Synchron's graveyard effect to special summon itself as a level 1 tuner. Scales and Revolution Synchron can then synchro into Junk Speeder. And from this point onward we can do the usual stuff we want to do. That's basically the new fancy combo I found, and with that shown, let's get into the replays. The first game I'll show you is going second against full combo Swordsoul. Since we know Ash is only useful against Swordsoul emergence to stop them from searching Protos, I'll save it for that, but my opponent didn't use it for that. So, I'm speeding this replay up until it's our turn again. Let's analyze what we're dealing with. My opponent has 4 cards in hand and 3 disruptions on the field. Well, technically 4 with Evil Longyuan, because he can banish 2 cards. First, we activate Wanted to maybe bait the negate of Dragite, but our opponent responds with Max C. Luckily, we saved Ash so we don't have to deal with the Roach. Now, we are special summoning Diabell and triggering her effect to bait an interaction, and we successfully baited the Chaizao negate. Fortunately, we had original Sinful Spoil in hand, and we are summoning Jet Synchron now so he doesn't see it as much of a threat, so Longyuan will not banish it. In retrospect, activating Rights here was probably a misplay, and we could have saved it until we've dealt with Dragite. Since we didn't use up the normal summon, we can go into Junk Speeder now. Longyuan will chain to Speeder, and our opponent hopes that I will have no non-tuner bodies to continue our plays, but fortunately, we drew into Stardust Synchron, which can trigger Trail's effect in the grave. And now, we are basically doing as much of the combo as possible. We are activating Excel Stardust's effect here to draw more cards and go into Shen Shen, since I see a grind game coming, and Shen Shen helps out a lot in this kind of situation. I've decided to get into Despader with Crimson Dragon to draw us even more cards. The summon of Excel Synchron was basically pointless, but the draw could save us later on. Now, the opponent tries to bait an interruption with Dragite. Since it failed, he just runs over our Barone, and fortunately for him, he had Lightning Storm to clear the board, and now he can go into another combo. Now, we have to play again through 3 disruptions, 1 Draco Berserk, 1 Chi-Shao, and 1 Blackout. The top deck was quite good with Enchantress. Searching for illegal Knight forces the Blackout of the opponent. Fortunately here, the opponent chains Draco Berserk to Diabellstar. And now we can start our recovery. Original Sinful Spoil is dead here since all targets for it are already in rotation, and as mentioned before, Shen Shen is a great free body and a grind game card. Stardust Synchron contribute over it to trigger the recycled trail and go into Omega. But now the relevant effect is his graveyard effect, and the best way to get him into the graveyard is by crashing him into Chi-Shao, so we deal with the disruption. With Omega in the grave, we can recover Barone and Omega, and we can normal summon Bell to get into the recycled Barone, and Barone can destroy Draco Berserk. The better play here would have been to wait for the summon of Ecclesia and then negate the summoned monster, but the clock was quite tight and I couldn't think that through properly. Now, we're trying to get Barone's effect back online. I've made a small misplay here since I can't find lethal this turn. It would be smarter to attack with Shen Shen to recover a monster from the banished pile and then go into Barone in main phase 2. Now, we can use Omega's third effect to recover Jet Synchron. And after that, the opponent surrenders. This game was quite intense, and I had a lot of fun playing it out. It was a good back and forth. In the second game, we aimed to showcase the deck's extension power by playing through 2 disruptions. We start off by activating Bite to search for Wakaushi, then Wakaushi scales Benkei, and Benkei searches for Soulpiercer. Next, we proceed to initiate the regular combo. Valor negates Diabellantis here, but we aren't concerned. Imperm negates Scales, preventing us from getting into Barone early. To improve field management, we activate Scales' effect to equip itself to another Superheavy, and then summon Diabell by sending Scales. Now, we can proceed to summon an unaffected Junk Speeder, and go for full combo. We are looping for 2 cards so the opponent has only 1 card left to play. But he sees it coming and surrenders. In the third game, I aim to demonstrate how to properly push for lethal under max C and what you need to pay attention to when comboing. The opponent starts their turn by searching for Circular, and follows up with a Small World, which could search for Ash Blossom. This is why I use max C on the activation of Small World. The opponent decides to search for their own max C and passes the turn to me. During the draw phase, he fires his max C, and theoretically, I could pass on that with 2 Handtraps and rights, but I decide to push for game. We activate on your mark to fish for a possible Ash Blossom and search for Stardust Synchron. Then, we proceed with the full adventure combo with Revolution Synchron. We don't forget to chain block for speeder with Fateful Adventure, which forces the opponent to use 2 specific Handtraps that aren't Ash Blossom. Now, let me explain why we aren't going for the unaffected speeder play. The only way to lose the game is Nibiru, so we have to save a negate for Nibiru. But since the opponent draws a lot of cards, it's quite likely they draw into an impermanence to stop the Nibiru negate. This is why we have to get an unaffected negation monster. Therefore, we are saving Excel Stardust for Dissipator. I forgot that the opponent had already used Small World, so he has cards banished already for Dissipator's negate. This is why we are going for Omega to banish a card. On the attempt to enter the battle phase, the opponent impermanences Dissipator and chains Nibiru on the resolution. Everything went according to our plan with the unaffected Dissipator, so we still have the negate for Nibiru. In the 4th and final replay of today, I wanted to demonstrate a play with a bricked hand. If this deck bricks, which happens quite rarely, it usually bricks on Handtraps most of the time. So, I bricked with 3 Veilers and pass my turn against heroes. Their biggest choke points are Ferris and the normal summon Vion, so I'm using my Veilers for them. The opponent follows with Vert Anaconda after I negated both. Anaconda will get negated by Veiler as well to stop their play into DPE. We have a lot of possible top decks with Revolution Synchron in hand, and Soulpiercer is one of them. We proceed with the Revolution Synchron and Soulpiercer line. The opponent has impermanence for Scales, but we still have Revolution Synchron's Graveyard effect to get into Junk Speeder, which wins us the game and proves that Yusei has the best protagonist deck. Thank you for watching. I would appreciate some feedback and I would be quite happy if you like and subscribe.